Oh, look at her. Oh. Our guest for today is Ananyaa Bath, Goa's first female lifeguard and senior lifesaver instructor with Drishti Marine.
First rescue I did was not a rescue in the water. I could not even hear what he's telling me. And he was sitting right next to me, telling me, okay, check her pulse, see if she's breathing, and it just went blank. Thankfully, that lady survived. The baby also survived. So that was my first attempt as a lifesaver to save someone. When I had joined, I thought that they'd be very, biased towards me, and they'll say, okay, she's a girl, let's take it easy. I think it was worse for me. At that time, I used to keep thinking, why are they pushing me so much, my instructors? And there were lots of times when I thought that I can't do this anymore.
Yes.
But now, when I think of it, I realize that they were doing it just because of the reason that they wanted me to fit in with the boys.
Yes.
After a certain point. I think it was the first time they were seeing a girl.
Yes.
Them tried to, manipulate me, throw questions that they knew I wouldn't be able to answer. Also, people will stop and say that, oh God, we've never seen a female lifeguard on the field.
Yeah.
And then they'll ask you, are they more? At that time, you feel like, okay, you've done something.
Yes.
It's a good feeling.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Sainandan Iyer, your host for the podcast Your Goa Story. Our guest for today is Ananyaa Bath, Goa's first female lifeguard and senior lifesaver instructor at Drishti Marine. So Ananyaa, as one of the first female trainers for lifeguards in Goa, what is your story?
I'm from a small village in Himachal. It's called Padog.
Okay.
And so I grew up there. I studied there. I did everything in Himachal. I came to Goa and I started working for Drishti Marine. They had just started a cruise and ferries section in the company. So I had started working for that. Gradually I became a lifeguard and then I was the only girl in the field. And then slowly I started training to become an instructor. And now I'm the only instructor.
Yes, that is indeed a new achievement for the state. During your career as a lifeguard, has there been any rescue event or situation that still kind of impacts you or you remember it, whether in a positive way or a negative way?
So, as a first responder, as a lifeguard, whoever you save or whosoever's rescue you watch, you always remember it.
Yes.
You can never forget it.
Correct.
Firstly. And it is so clear in your mind that you will be able to tell the date, the month, everything. Initially, I remember the first one I watched. I was not a part of it, but it happened in front of me. I think it was 2018. I was still fresh in the field. And so they pulled out a man from the water and he had a heart attack on the boat. So by the time they got him off the boat and got him onto the land and then started the CPR and everything, it had been quite some time since he had not been okay.
Yes.
So that is the first time I saw someone, do CPR on a live victim. Otherwise, in our training, it's always on the dummy. That was the first time I saw it happening on a live victim and I panicked. I remember I was standing there and my heart was pounding so much I could not understand what is happening.
Just watching it.
Yeah, just watching it. I had nothing to do with it. I was standing at a distance. I was watching it. The way they compress the chest, what happens to the victim. So all of this, that was the first time I saw it happening. And the first thing I do was threw up. I went and I threw up. After that, it's got better now. Every time you feel the same thing in your stomach, in your chest, but it becomes a little better. I won't say it becomes better.
Correct.
But you would learn how to deal with it.
Correct. It's not your first time anymore.
Yeah.
So have you been part of any rescue operation wherein you were like part of it and you still kind of remember it?
Yes. So the first rescue I did was not a rescue in the water.
Okay.
It was actually, there was a lady who was in a market space.
Yeah.
And she collapsed due to whatever reasons.
Yeah.
And one of my senior instructors were there and he was there to help her. But because it was a lady, the other ladies were not allowing them to touch him to touch her. So, and help her. So then he had to call me. I went to the place. It was in a market. And so it turned out that the lady was pregnant. Okay, so that was the first time I had a hands-on experience with the victim. And at that time, again, I remember I completely lost it. I could not remember anything. I could not even hear what he's telling me, and he was sitting right next to me, telling me, okay, check her pulse, see if she's breathing, and it just went blank.
Okay.
For a few seconds, it was blank until he shook me a little bit and he
Yes.
told me that this is it now. Come on.
Okay.
After that, it got better. Thankfully, that lady survived.
Okay.
The baby also
Nice.
survived. So that was my first attempt as a lifesaver to save someone.
I mean, it's all interesting to know because we have never been like part of either as a victim or as a lifesaver.
That's good. Please don't be a victim.
Yeah, but even as a lifeguard, like I've never seen, at least live, like how they work. So I just wanted to know, like, is there always like a team of lifeguards
There's
working
always
together?
a team of lifeguards. You're never alone.
Okay.
And the rule is that you never go to save someone without telling your buddy.
Okay.
So even if you're at a point, so every beach is divided into points, and there is a lifeguard at every 100-200 meters.
Okay.
And even if you're at that point alone, whenever you run into the water for a rescue, you're supposed to relay on the walkie-talkie your point, and you're supposed to say rescue, rescue, rescue. That's all you have to say, and you have to run to save the victim. By that time, your backup arrives.
Okay.
So, if you need assistance in the water, if there is more than one victim, so somebody will come into the water. The jet ski is launched. The jeep comes. They bring the essential oxygen, the AED machine. So everything arrives. By the time you come out with the victim, you have help.
Okay.
So you never have to do it alone.
So there's not just the person running into the water. There's a lot of like logistics and communication and technology. I'm assuming.
Yes.
Yeah. So what would you say like water is to you? Is it your biggest fear or your strength now that you're surrounded by water most of the times?
Okay. So I remember as a child when I used to come to Goa, it was all fun and games. Jumping into the waves, and I remember sometimes the lifeguards used to tell us, or the water sports boys used to tell us that the water is bad. Don't go into the water. And I used to feel, we come every year, what will happen? So I was on that side of the line for a very long time, not understanding what the water is. Then gradually, when I started working with the water, obviously it became a very big strength for us because what we do, not a lot of people can do that.
Yes.
The common person can't run in. They can go and try to save the person.
Correct.
But what happens after that, the techniques you have to use, that is very complex. So it's my strength as well. I know that if something happens, I know that I'll be able to bring the person out.
Yes.
But at the same time, I'm very scared of the water.
Oh.
Okay, because we train in the monsoons.
Oh. Okay.
And we have seen the water at the worst. We were there when the cyclone came. We were on the field working. So we have seen firsthand what the water can do, what it is capable of, and what can happen to the bestest of swimmers in the water if they're not careful.
Into your training academy or your training center, how did the others react, especially the male counterparts?
So the good thing is that when I began my lifeguarding journey, my training happened with the lifeguards. Okay. I was always around them, with them. We were at the same tower, at the same center.
Yes.
So it was not that they didn't know me or I was new. So because it happened gradually, they saw me grow. Yeah. They saw me become a lifeguard. They saw me working in the field with them. So when I walked in as an instructor, it was a bit of a shock to them. I won't lie.
Sure.
It was a bit of a shock because I think it was the first time they were seeing a girl.
Yes.
Okay, and so they were a little confused. Few of them tried to manipulate me, throw questions that they knew I wouldn't be able to answer. Okay. Then language was a big barrier.
Yes.
Back then I could not understand much of it.
Yes.
But overall it was very nice. They were very homely. They didn't make me feel like I was not from here. I didn't belong in the field. It was all very good.
So were there instructions in Konkani which was difficult for you? Or?
Okay, so the initial lectures that I took as a trainee, they were in English, Hindi by my instructors for me. But then when I started sitting as an under trainee in lectures, the lectures conducted were in Konkani. Okay. What the lifeguards could be able to understand. So I started picking up words from there. So anytime they'd ask me or a question would come, I knew what they were saying.
Correct.
So I always ask them that is it okay if I reply in Hindi. Yes. Now they're very used to it. Yeah. Now they know if they speak to me in Konkani, I'll reply in Hindi.
So do you have any catchphrases that you remember like in Konkani? Either related to work or in general?
Makanaka.
Okay, perfect. So we just wanted to know is there a separate way of training male and female lifeguards or is it the same?
It is the same.
Okay.
They have to do everything in the same way.
Okay.
When I had joined, everything was the same for girls and boys.
Okay.
Now there is a bit of a difference. It's 11 minutes, 400 meters for the boys,
Okay.
and it's 12 minutes for the girls. So there's a 1 minute increase for the girls. But apart from that, there is nothing different in the training.
Okay.
As much as a boy swims, the girl has to swim as much. The training is the same, rescue techniques are the same, everything is the same.
Okay.
Instructors are the same.
So there is fairness when it comes to training.
Yes.
There is no like favoritism
No
or
favoritism.
weaker sex or
When
nothing
I
like
had
that.
joined, I thought that they'd be very
Yes.
biased towards me, and they'll say, okay, she's a girl,
Yeah.
let's take it easy. I think it was worse for me.
Okay, but you have proved that
Yes.
you've gone through the
They
training.
gave me the chance to, I kept, at that time, I used to keep thinking, why are they pushing me so much?
Yes.
My instructors. And there were lots of times where I thought that I can't do this anymore.
Yes.
But now, when I think of it, I realize that they were doing it just because of the reason that they wanted me to fit in with the boys
Yes.
after a certain point.
And you have proved it to yourself, and I'm sure you'll be inspiring others as well. Those who want
I
to
really
get into.
hope so.
Yes. What are the biggest challenges that you or any lifeguard would face on the job?
Okay, so usually what happens is, from a people's perspective,
Yes.
okay, they see a lifeguard comes to work, he's sitting there or he's standing there blowing his whistle, calling people out,
Okay.
and for them that is it.
Yes.
That is the job. You come, blow your whistle, and you go.
Yeah.
Okay, this is from another person's perspective.
Yes.
But what people don't understand is when a lifeguard is there on duty,
Yes.
there are so many things going on in his mind, because at that time, at that point, he's alone.
Yeah.
Until backup comes. So
Yeah.
whatever it is, that area is your responsibility.
Yeah.
Okay. So you are constantly, wary that, oh God, somebody is going too deep, somebody is not coming up.
Yeah.
All this is going up in the lifeguard's mind, and also the sun.
Yes.
Even if you're sitting in the sun for about an hour, you start feeling very drained. And
Yes.
this is a person who's coming in the morning and will be there till he has to go for lunch or whatever.
Yes.
And dehydration. And there is a lot of things that the sun and the sea, they do to a person's hair,
Yes.
skin, eyes, that these people don't really think of all of that.
Correct.
Yeah. So these are the challenges that are faced by a lifeguard when he's on the field. There's a lot of health issues that can happen.
Yeah.
If you catch a cold, the cold does not go.
Yes.
So you will always see, if a lifeguard gets a cold, the cold is there 1 month, 2 months, very normal.
Okay.
Because you're constantly with the sea.
Yeah.
The sea air is there. You have to run into the water.
Yes.
Lots of times you're standing in your uniform, it's wet.
Yeah.
So this is all. There's a lot of
Challenges. Honestly, what at least I have seen when I go to the beach is just like the lifeguards sitting on the tower, or maybe patrolling with their jeep, or like planting that red flag and moving that now and then. So I just wanted to know, how does a red flag thing work? Like the placement of it.
So the placement, basically the flag is placed at the high tide line.
Okay.
So the high tide line is where the water usually comes up till.
Okay.
So the placement changes with the low tide and the high tide. If the water is going inside, when it's low tide, the flag will also move closer to the water.
Okay.
And as the water starts coming up for high tide, the flag will move. Basically, the flag is telling you something. If it's a red flag, it means it's danger.
Okay.
If it's a red and yellow flag, it means it's a swim zone.
Okay.
So it's basically for that. So we can't have the flag up on the beach and the people in the water.
Yes.
So it has to be as close to the people and as close to the water.
Okay.
So that's why it keeps moving.
Yeah. And do you think people actually listen? I mean, adhere to the flags and not venture deep into the ocean?
Okay. It's a very technical question. People don't listen, usually.
Okay.
People don't listen, but we are really trying. We've had some awareness things that we have done. We started a thing called Swim with the Lifesavers also.
Okay.
It was basically to, give people the awareness of what the flags mean, what the signs mean, and why the lifeguard is asking you to come out.
Yes.
So we are trying. People have started listening. It's become much better over the years from what it was. First, initially, it would end in a fight. Now, at least they try to listen to us.
Okay.
So it's getting better. We are getting better.
So what would you say are some do's and don'ts on the beach for those who love like swimming in the ocean or visiting the beach often? What are some do's and don'ts that they need, according to you, that they need to follow?
Okay, the first thing is listen to the lifeguard.
Yes.
Because it may seem like he's trying to make it easier for himself, not letting you go into the water.
Correct.
But it's actually the opposite, because he knows if something happens, he has to anyhow
Yes.
go into the water. But also at the same time, he doesn't want anything bad happening to the person. So that is one. And go till you are comfortable.
Okay.
Okay, because what happens many times is that the gradient of the water, it's not flat.
Yes.
So what will happen, you will take 2 steps and the water is waist level.
Correct.
You will take 2 more steps and the water is suddenly till here, So go where you're comfortable till.
Yeah.
Don't drink on the beach.
Yes. Actually, I've heard that the beaches, at least the Miramar beach, is like the gradient is like very steep after a particular point, which people are not aware.
Yes.
So they drown or like they get dragged into the.
Yeah, beaches like Palolem, Agonda.
Yeah.
Their gradient is very nice. You can keep walking because they're in a cove.
Correct.
Even Holland.
Yeah.
Beaches like that, they're very nice. Those are the beaches that you can actually swim nicely.
Being the first female lifeguard and advocating for gender equality, so how do you think that can be achieved, firstly in your profession and generally in other professions as well?
Actually, I think it depends on how people are brought up. Okay. That is what I feel. Yeah. Okay, because since I was a child, we were always told that you are no different. It was always the same. Even when we were in school, I was in a co-educational school. So even it was all same, boys and girls. There was no, thing that you're a girl, you can't do this, you're a boy, you can't do that. Sports were equal. Yeah. Everything was equal. Okay, so that's why I think when I came here, it was a challenge that I was the only girl. Yes. But I never felt like it's something that I can't do at all. Yeah. When the physical aspect came, when we had to do the physical training and everything, obviously all the lifeguards, the boys, their swimming was much better because they come from a place which is a coastal belt. Yes. It was much better, but I never felt that something I can't do. Okay. At the same time, when I used to talk to my parents and talk to my boss, who was my boss at that time in the company, I should tell him also that, I think it's getting too much. They never told me that it's okay, don't do it, leave it. They always used to tell me that at least finish it. Like, you've started it, complete it. If you can't do it after that, then we'll see. Yeah. So nobody has ever in my life told me that you're a girl, like you can't do it. Correct. And these are the people who actually matter. Yeah. Your parents, your family, the people you work with. Yeah. If they would have started demotivating me, then maybe it was a different thing. I would have also thought that I can't do it. So I think the same thing is required for everybody to do. Yes. Whenever there's a girl, like recently I went to this school. Yeah. To conduct a training for first aid, and they were all 15-16-year-old girls over there. Yeah. So I asked them that, like, why don't you join this profession? Yeah. So the first response was, oh, only boys do that. Mm-hmm. So that's the thing that is being put in their head since they are small, that this is a boy's job. Yeah. It shouldn't be like that. But I think at least with your achievements, you have like broken that stereotype. And we are trying. Yes. Now there are 2 other girls also in the company as lifeguards. Okay. So they are local from here. I think both of them are Goan. So we are hoping that at least seeing them, people should come into the field. Correct. And see that they are fine with the lifeguards and with their job, and they aren't having any troubles as such. Yeah. So. Okay, so finally, as a female lifeguard and trainer, what about your profession do you feel is the best part of it, or like what fills you up with pride every day that you go to work? So every day it can become very monotonous. Yeah. Sometimes you are going every day doing the same training, doing the same things. So sometimes you feel it's becoming very monotonous now, But, you're meeting different people. Firstly. Yes. Okay, and in a batch of 100 people or 50 people, only 10-15 people will actually listen to what you're saying and take it seriously. Because this is a, subject or topic, first aid is something that people think that we are never going to have to do it. Correct. When you go and teach people CPR, the first thing that comes in their mind is we don't have to do it. Yeah. So why should we even listen? That happens. Yes. So there are very few people who are actually interested, who actually listen. Yeah. Okay. And those few people are the people who then, when in life something happens, they'll give you a call. And they'll say, madam, aisa hua. I was in the field and this happened, or I was on the road and this happened, or something happened at home and I did whatever you guys had taught us. Yeah. And it all went well. So that is the moment where you feel that, whatever you're doing it right. Making a difference. Yeah. And on the beach also it happens a lot of times, You'll try to tell somebody that don't do this. Yeah. Then they'll do it. Okay, you'll tell them, most common thing that happens is their spectacles. Okay, you will tell them that you're going to lose them. No, we are just sitting in the water till here. And 5 minutes, spectacles are gone. Okay, so then they start panicking. Lots of people who have power, they start panicking. So then you have to go help them.
Correct.
So if you find it also, it's good because then they are very happy.
You actually have to go and find it?
You can't really find it.
Correct.
But you have to at least
try.
To make you can't say no.
Correct. Okay.
So there are things like that. As a female on the beach, there's a lot of recognition that we are getting from the foreign tourists, especially in Benolim, because I'm in the south usually. So Benolim, Kolva, Taj. So whenever I'm on that stretch, whichever foreign tourist is walking by, usually what happens is they come for a long time. So they see you every day.
Yes.
So they have started acknowledging, that there is a female lifeguard. Lots of people will stop and say that, oh God, we've never seen a female lifeguard on the field. And then they'll ask you, are there more? At that time, you feel like, okay, you've done something.
Yes.
It's a good feeling.
Yeah. So that was all the questions. So thank you, Ananya, for enlightening us about what it is being a lifeguard, especially a female lifeguard, and giving us a lot of insights into how the profession works. So yes, as we sit here at the shop at Rua de Ure in Panjim, we would like to thank Ananya for giving us such a in-depth interview on what it is being a lifeguard and a senior lifesaver instructor.